All right. Welcome to Summit Talk. This is Ethan, your host, and today I've got Ryan Weber with me. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
This will be fun. Today we're talking about victim mentality and how that is plaguing the world around us, in the church, in the secular world, and everywhere in between. It's a disease. But I want to first start with defining, like, what is a victim mentality? What does that mean?
So I actually did digging on that very question. The book definition of it is victim mentality is a deep ingrained habitual mindset where a person consistently views themselves as powerless, continually feels wronged. It's used as a coping mechanism, and a person often going through victim mentality always feels helpless and blames others and resists help.
Okay. And where do we see this, play itself out today? Like, if you were to give like a practical example, for folks to realize, because I don't know that I don't know that everyone always realizes they have a victim mentality. So what might this look like today?
Today, well, let's just use a practical example as for myself. It was childhood trauma. Realizing that stuff growing up was not normal. Your situation, your living situation was not normal. The way you were being treated was not normal. And having somebody else tell you that is very tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're saying, like, the trauma that you went through kind of led you to eventually develop that mentality later on in life?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I developed it. I dealt with certain aspects of victim mentality, but I grew up with somebody who lived in victim mentality hard. It was my mother. And it's tough when you think that life is normal, when you think that mindset is normal.
Yeah, because if it's normal, you don't feel the need to change.
Right. You don't feel a need to grow.
Right. That's a big deal. And you mentioned that someone else pointed this out?
Yes. Today, they are my spiritual parents. God put these people in my life to make me realize that what was happening to me wasn't normal, and it's crazy how God uses puts people on your path when you're going through stuff. And yeah, now, man, really owe a lot to these people.
It's awesome how God kind of orchestrates that. Someone who became, you said, your spiritual parents, life-giving, investing into you. It's beautiful how God orchestrates stuff like that. Because I know a family member who can really, really relate with that. And tragically, we just lost one of her spiritual parents, but it's a beautiful thing like that, because before that person shows up in your life, I'm not sure your story exactly and how they showed up in your life, but at least for this family member I know, like, when they showed up, it was very unexpected. And before they showed up, it was bleak. It was hopeless.
Yeah, that's very similar.
That's tough, man.
Like, and thinking back on it, God, I hear this all the time. God meets you where you're at. And it's not always like him himself, sometimes it's vessels.
Mhm.
And man, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So when you hear the word victim mentality, like what comes to mind for you?
Man, without even like like before I knew the definition, um it's just for me like it's mindset.
Mhm.
Um we get I grew up seeing it, so like it it's just this thing that is like a comfortability, and it we don't deal with our pain.
Mhm.
It's like for me, it's like putting yourself in a prison
Mhm.
almost.
Mhm.
That's what it is.
Mhm.
It's prison. And and it's not necessarily from anybody putting you there. You are putting yourself there.
Wow. It's a decision.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. So, because I'm reminded of that quote. It's I'm gonna butcher it here, but I'll do my best. Indecision is the decision not to do. So I wonder, like sometimes if folks slide into this almost on accident, because it's pretty common today. I feel like it's gotten pretty rampant.
Yeah.
It's pretty common. Um, it's trendy. It's one of those things. You go to work and all your coworkers are talking about, oh man, it was such a bad weekend. I was gonna go fishing and there was I don't know, I hit a deer. or like, because there's like sometimes there's like genuinely like bad things that happen. It's like, yeah, that sucks. But we all know that one person who every time you see them, there's always something else bad that
Always
happened.
something.
Always something.
That's the prison that that I just spoke of. You put yourself in prison and you're always it could be the smallest thing, not even like something serious, and you're just like, "Why? This is just my it's just my luck. This is always happening to me."
Hmm. Yeah, those are super common phrases. It's just my luck. This is always happening to me. And I'm just I got this picture, right? If we're imagining a man in a prison cell, right? Um, Especially if you put yourself into the prison cell, like if you put yourself into it, then you can get yourself out of it. So that's an important distinction. I want to talk more about that in a little bit. But I'm imagining this prison cell, and maybe you've got a bed in there, like really comfortable blankets and pillows. And maybe you've got Wi-Fi in the prison cell, and maybe it's like padded, like like really comfortable. But it's interesting with the prison cell because it's bars, and you could talk to people through the walls, but they can't get in. And so as we look at it, I'm getting this picture of a man in a prison cell who's like talking about how terrible it is that he's in the prison cell, but deep down there's a piece of him that's glad that he's in it because then nothing else can get to him,
The keys are right in the corner.
right? But it's almost it's almost attractive to stay inside the box because you feel this false sense of safety inside the box. If you're inside the box, you don't have to change anything. Everything around you is within like your control. I don't know, at least in the prison cell, in the analogy. Maybe it's not translating perfectly on this, but that's kind of the picture that I get is someone who's comfortable in the box that they're in, and yet they complain about it, like they're trying to get out.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, so with it becoming like more common, why why do you think it's becoming more common? Like, is it something in like culture is just like promoting it type of thing? Is it like a legitimate like mental illness growing is it in the water? Like, well, why do you think it's kind of grown so much?
Mental illness plays a part in it. I think it's generational. So now we're in 2026, we have all these adults that grew up seeing it, seeing what the prison's like and how it runs, and then it kind of just rubs off on us.
Mm.
And because we've normalized it for so long, all right, I'm gonna do it too. It happens through pain, trauma, and like you just get to the end of your rope and you think that, there's no way out.
Yeah. So that word mentality, right? Like a mentality is kind of like wearing sunglasses. It's a frame through which you can see the world around you. And as we think about the analogy of wearing sunglasses, it prevents all of the UV rays from getting to your eyeballs. So it's more comfortable to look outside.
Mhm.
But if the victim mentality is a frame through which you can see the world, I wonder what things that you're kind of missing. Like what things are blocked from your view because your view on the world is so limited like that,
Yeah, it's like tunnel vision.
right? It's pessimistic, super pessimistic
Yeah.
most of the time.
Mhm.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you this. Like, can someone be wearing those sunglasses? Can someone have this victim mentality, like, without fully realizing it?
Yeah. Like I said, it starts with like pain and trauma, and it's like I said, we just go about our normal life. Our normal life. I mean, um yeah, we don't even realize that we're in it
Hmm.
and until like for my situation, until somebody told me that, Ryan, that's not normal. And in today's view, complete strangers told me that.
Yeah.
Somebody that wasn't in my situation told me that's not what love looks like. Yeah. And like I said, that's tough to hear. And we almost and I think the enemy tries to get a hold of you in that, and you're just like, yes, it is.
Almost like defensive.
Yeah.
Hmm.
As soon as your spirit's conflicted, the enemy is trying to like pull you back in and suck you back into that prison. Like, no.
Hmm. That's interesting because, yeah, going back on the, like, if you're in a cage, putting yourself in that cage, and nothing else can get to you, the enemy wants you there. Because if you don't think you can get out of the box, then you can't be obedient
Yes.
to where God is trying to move you to.
Yep.
Oh, man. So if you are captive to this negativity, you're handcuffing yourself to the problems, right? Now, but I definitely want to make like a very clear point and say, like, we're not trying to like dismiss trauma, abuse, discrimination,
Absolutely not.
loss, or that like legitimate suffering. I don't want to belittle that by any means. It's super real. This is a super real thing that happens in life. Like really bad stuff, evil things happen. However, what we're more trying to talk about today, right, is that mindset that a lot of times stems from this. And I think sometimes people can have this too without even having like abuse or like loss or trauma. Like, I think sometimes folks develop this just by complaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Like we said at the beginning, like, this is always happening to me. Why does this always happen to me?
Yeah. Yeah. So, let's talk about how it develops, right? Because if you can have it and not realize that you have it, then someone listening to this today might be guilty of this, right? You might think like, not me, Ethan, Ryan, like that's not, don't need to worry about that. But who knows? Maybe you've got a speck in your eye too, right? So how does it develop? Where does it like typically start, you think?
Like I was saying, to me, it's almost generational. So it starts when we're kids,
Mm,
because we see our parents go about life a certain way,
mhm.
and then ask those questions. So it may start really young. It may, like, nothing may be like traumatically going on in your life, but yeah, I would say it starts with seeing our parents.
Okay. Especially as kids, we look up to our parents.
Yeah.
We learn the world from our parents.
Hmm.
Now you're an adult, flip the script, you've got kids. If it starts generationally for your parents, right? It started from your parents to you. And now your role is you can either teach your children to think this way too, or you can stop it, right? I'll just be super candid. My daughter came up to me last week and she says, "Daddy, am I dumb?"
Mm.
And I freaked out. No, what? Where would you learn that? I've never called you this. Like, I never said this out loud to you. Like, I would never. And I didn't even think that I say that word. And we don't watch anything that says words like that ever, ever. Like we watch Bluey. you know, like Bluey and like I don't know, Anna and Elsa on Frozen, right?
Hmm.
Um, but um I, Christina caught me and I was doing something at work and I had said that. I'd said like, "Oh, that's dumb. Like that's so dumb." But they pick up everything. Kids pick up everything.
They're magnets.
Magnets.
Hmm.
Even when they're not seemingly paying attention, they're magnets.
Yeah, they'll catch you off guard, and like it's just a random thing. Like the other day, my oldest, she was watching TV with me, and she had saw something that happened, and she just goes, "Oh Lord." I was like, where did that come from?
Oh Lord. That's so beautiful. Because kids are great. They're such a
Mhm.
blessing. But now we have a new responsibility as fathers, husbands, and just adults in general, right? Like it's our job now to make sure our kids don't
Yeah.
adopt this mindset.
Mhm.
That's a big deal. Because yeah, if it starts, in childhood, then you're there now. And I'm there now.
Yeah,
And that's terrifying.
it is.
Because how many days do you get home from work and you're just exhausted and you don't want to care about what the words are that you say? Like you don't want to be super intentional with the talk that you have with your spouse. Like you just, oh God, kind of sit on the couch and relax.
You got nothing left in the tank.
Right. Like how many folks today are actually like, "Oh, I've got so much left in the tank after work. I have all this energy now. Let me go and do all of the dishes in the house and clean the entire house and go take care of all the kids. And who wants to go play outside for like 3 hours? And let's go build a sandcastle and let's build a treehouse." Like, who has all this energy at the end of the day? Like, you're retired, dude. If you have energy like that, you don't have a job.
Yeah, thanks. You're unemployed.
That's right. um, but anyways, yeah. So if it starts as a kid, that's where you have to be intentional as a parent for your children, right? But okay, so let's talk about the victim mentality for folks. What's the benefit of having a victim mentality? Like, because there's got to be some good enough where people do this, whether they realize it or not. There's something about it that they like. What's the benefit to having a victim mentality?
The attention that you get from it.
Hmm.
The this is happening to me. Look at me. Um,
Mm.
Comfortability. I why leave this?
Mm.
I don't have to do anything. No responsibility.
Wow.
It's attractive.
Mm.
Like I said.
Yeah. So it's comfortable, you get attention. Because, yeah, you totally see this play out when you're at work. you go to work and, like, hey, how was your weekend? It's like, oh man, it wasn't any good. Or you, I guess if you're in college too, it can be like this. Oh, I got to write another essay.
On
Right.
Friday night.
Like, oh man, come on. I have an 8 a.m. class. Come on. That's just my luck.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that we say, that are super common. That's just my luck. Nothing good happens to me. Like, oh, I could never.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough, man. That's
It
tough.
is.
But it's trendy. It's common. And something we were talking about before this started was, man, when you bring up this stuff, especially at work, right? It's kind of like gossiping. Like you kind of get your group, your posse of people that you kind of vent stuff with. And on one hand, you might be thinking, oh, this is okay. It's just venting, But venting that you do every single day is habitual. And if it's habitual, it's, it's not necessarily venting anymore, right? If you're just talking about your crap so that you can talk to people about your crap, like, okay, Jesus says this in Matthew 6. He says, essentially, to beware of your intentions. Do not blow trumpets before you in the synagogues and in the streets like the hypocrites do, in order to be seen by them. So Jesus says, he says, be careful when you give, not to let your right hand know what the left is doing, right? That way you're not being seen, right? But it's interesting that when we do this, we're being seen. We're getting that attention, because I think humans are trained to look for problems, to look for threats, right?
The negatives.
Because in some form or fashion, the negatives grab us. Media understands this. News stations understand this. Your Instagram feed understands this. X, Twitter, they understand this. Twitter, X, understands this. Because it gets clicks. People pay attention to stuff that sucks.
Mm-hmm. And then that rubs off on our own lives.
Mm-hmm. If all you ever talk about is negative, what's going on between your ears? If all that you say is negative, what do you think?
Right.
If out of the mouth flows the abundance of the heart, and all of the words that you say are negative, what's in your heart?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when Jesus came, he said, truly I tell you, it is not what you put into your mouth that can defile you, but what comes out of it. That's an important thing. Yeah. And the other thing that too with the mentality is, if it's like a lens that you use to look at the world, then that can also become who you are too, right? It's like an identity. If you go to work and everyone sees you as like, oh man, he's the guy who complains. Like, what do you got about, what have you got today? Anyways, but the victim mentality, it can become a part of your identity, and it's comfortable to be there, right? Because it's easy. It's an abdication of responsibility. It's cutting yourself off from having to do the work of healing and growth.
Yeah.
And so it's comfortable. Like if everything is someone else's fault, nothing has to change, because you're not the problem, according to you.
Right? According to you.
Here's the question that I had to ask myself. Like, I'll stop attacking other people and I'll get real. I'll talk about myself. I was interviewed, and I sought after 18 promotions, and I was told no 18 times.
Mm.
At some point, you've got to point the finger somewhere else and figure out why. 18 is a lot. And every single one of them said something like this: Ethan, we think you'd be great, but we're going to go a different direction. So if you hear that enough times, you start thinking, oh God, I'll never be good enough for these people. However, you could sit there and believe you will never be good enough for the people. You can do something about it. You can look at yourself and say, how do I need to grow and be better? That maybe I am enough for these people,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and there's another thing for another episode of trying to earn the approval of man. That's another topic that I'm not ready for. But so I'm interested in your story too. You're with the military. You know, how has your perspective changed on this victim mentality with you working in the military?
Mm. So in the military, you have a lot of different training and stuff that takes you away from home, and you get by yourself a lot. So I, the first time that I actually realized that this was a problem, I was I was gone for the entire summer, and all I was doing every time I was alone was studying and drinking. I was replacing all those feelings with alcohol, and alcohol has a funny way of bringing all the negatives out. And even without alcohol, if we're suppressing our emotions,
Hmm.
they're going to come out at some point. It's only a matter of time. Something's going to happen. Something's going to set you off. Something's going to flip the switch. Um, so one night I was drinking and was really drunk, and I called my wife and asked. I was crying because all I was thinking about was, why don't my parents love me? And that's all I was asking her. I was like, why don't they love me, Hannah? That was when I was sober. I was thinking to myself, yeah, why don't they love me?
Yeah.
But then I realized that I have some work that I need to do. Like, I'm not okay. So I'm clearing out my hotel room of all the bottles, all the cans, and um yeah, I get back home after that summer, and she was going to a church.
Hmm.
She was she was taking on the role as the spiritual leader in the house. And I mean, I could see it every time she was asking me, Ryan, are you coming to church? Are you going to come to church today? And I would tell her no. I could see the pain in her face and the stress that came with that. Um,
Hmm.
so I was like, the first step, I need to get back with God first and foremost.
Mhm.
Like, let's start actually working on this.
Yeah.
There's something that I need, like, there's growth that needs to happen here
Hmm.
so I can say that I'm okay and actually mean it.
Yeah.
So I get back and I go that first Sunday and I sit down. She's on worship team, and we had to go early so they could do their rehearsal. And I'm sitting there watching her. She has an amazing voice, and just, soaking in that. I was loving it. And then I didn't realize that there was somebody sitting next to me. This gentleman was just sitting. He didn't say anything. I look over at him, and I was kind of thinking in my head, like, okay, who are you, buddy? Like, there's all these chairs, and you picked this one to sit right next to me. There's like one chair in between us. And I just felt like I needed to introduce myself. And I go, hi, I'm Ryan. I'm her husband. And he's like, oh, he actually stopped me in the middle of that and was like, I know who you are. And that just like hit me like a semi truck. That was God speaking to me. Like, are you ready? Are you ready to work? There's a lot that we need to work on
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just by like, I know who you are,
Mm-hmm.
just by a statement.
Because for you to even be at the church is you accepting, okay, it's time to start growing. It's time to start coming back to who God has called me to be.
Mm-hmm.
So just to even be in the building, you're already telling the Lord, all right, I'm ready to pick this back up. And then for God to come back here and speak through the pastor to you and say, I know who you are. Like, I remember you.
Yeah.
I
I haven't
haven't
forgotten you.
I haven't forgotten you. That's a really big deal. For everyone listening right now, like, God is calling you back.
Yeah.
It's not too late. He hasn't abandoned you.
Mm-mm.
He hasn't forgotten. And he's not going anywhere.
No. Yeah.
It's an important thing to understand is that the Lord loves you unconditionally. It's not like a human where you're trying to earn their approval, where if you would just be good enough, they would love you. It's not who God is. It's unconditional. Regardless of anything that you've done in your life, he looks at you and says, I'm here. Come home.
Yeah.
Man. Because that's what God does. He knows what you need. He knows what you need to hear. And although he doesn't always send fire down from heaven to set a building on fire, he will send a person, a stranger, a complete stranger, to tap you on the shoulder and say, yeah, I know. I remember you. I know who you are. I was waiting for you. I couldn't wait to see you.
Yeah.
I had this once. Yeah, I know who you are. I've been praying for you. What? That's weird. Don't pray for me. You don't know who I am.
Right.
You know, like my parents' friends would come up to me like, oh man, you're so big. I'm like, yeah, so are you. Jeez. Never met you in my life.
Yeah.
But no, it's important because the Lord doesn't call you to be stagnant. He's pretty clear about lukewarm faith. He's pretty clear about progress and growth. It's interesting. Like when we look at the book of Jonah, God was very clear. Go to Nineveh. He's like, I don't know. Was that God? Was that God? I think I'll go this way instead. And it's funny, like what God doesn't do is God doesn't strike the boat with lightning and kill everyone in the boat. He sends a storm. It's interesting. Like that's important. He sent a storm to shake you. So sometimes I think that we go through things sometimes, and I think that we give the enemy too much credit. And I think we blame Satan for something that the Lord is actually using to bring you home or to bring you to your calling.
Yeah.
Or to nudge you towards the thing that he said to you that you're like, I don't know, was it God? I'm not sure. You know? Like I can think of so many times in my life when I was put through a super uncomfortable season I think on purpose. Because it's funny, like when I look at my life in retrospect, hindsight, now that it's over with and I'm out of it, when I look at the past to see where I am today, I'm like, man, that makes sense. But when I was going through it, I was screaming at God, why am I here? Like,
where are you?
Like, where are you? How come I can't hear your voice right now? I remember so vividly one time I was standing outside and it was in the middle of a rainstorm and I was 16. I was really depressed. I was in a rainstorm, it was a thunderstorm. It was pouring rain on me. And I was yelling at the clouds and the rain coming in my mouth and my eyes. It's disgusting. It's like, God, just kill me. Like, if I'm never going to do anything with my life, just kill me. I literally said that. And my mom comes out. She says, "What are you doing out here?" I'm like, "Mom, go away." And she's like, "What are you doing?" And so I told her, I was like, "Man, I've done nothing in my life. 16, I've seen nothing. I've done nothing. I am nothing." I'm like, my life is useless. It's pointless. Like, what is God even using me here for? She's like, "You're only 16. Your life just started, dude." But I had myself so down this spiral of like looking for like what I thought God might use me for. I compared myself to the people around me, like, okay, God's using him to be a pastor, and God's using him to be like a professional musician, and God's using them to be a missionary. Like, but I'm doing none of this. Like, okay, he's doing pastor, so I can't be a pastor. Okay, so like, all right, so they're doing this, I can't be that, and like he got valedictorian, so I can't be that. Like, and this stuff like gets to you. Like, I was on the football team and I was a receiver and I wasn't throwing the ball a single time. And when I was on the baseball team, I wasn't even like a good hitter. So like I struck out a bunch, or the ball would get hit to me and I'd drop it, and I'd mess up and I start to tell myself like, oh God, I suck. Like, I'm dumb. I'm stupid. I've got nothing to me. And so for me, I developed this like victim mentality really, really young, like you said, as a kid.
Mhm.
And it took me a long time to start to climb out of this box. Like, even as an adult, I can think of a lot of scenarios where I failed at this, and I allowed myself to fall into a pit of pessimism that influenced my marriage as well in a really negative way. That wasn't healthy. So, on the topic of the pit, how do you climb out of that pit when you're not motivated, you don't feel super confident or even prepared? What's your escape route?
Looking back on it, it is a never-ending pit. It's a constant pit. When you actually start growing, like, it's a time of year. It's a memory, it's a thought, somebody says something and it triggers a response in your brain, like a picture or a memory, and you're back in it. So to anybody who is actually struggling with this, you with me, it was I had to deal with forgiveness. That was what God was like. You have to find first. You have to find out what God is telling you to do.
Mm.
You can't start growing without God.
Yeah.
So you have to release your power, because we want to, as humans, we want to do everything by ourselves. You got to realize that you can't do it by yourself. You need God.
Mm-hmm.
And actually start listening to him. Not to hear what you want, but to actually hear him.
Yeah.
And he'll tell you what to work on, and you'll know it because you don't want to do it.
Yeah. 100%.
You'll have that Jonah moment.
Yeah.
But you can either do that thing or you can just keep digging.
Yeah.
Digging yourself down.
Yeah.
So I had to ask God for help, and he was putting on my heart forgiveness. And somebody, my spiritual mother, told me that you just because you can forgive uh for you, or you can forgive for people. But if you do, in my situation, so I can't really have a conversation about my trauma or eh, grow with the people who hurt me, because I'm not gonna accept it. They're not gonna take to it.
Hmm.
So I had to figure out how to forgive them. And she had told me, even though you forgive them, even though you think that you forgave them, because I had done something. I thought that I was good, thought I was like clean, and then something happened, and I'm texting them and asking them why, and asking for help again. And she had said, Ryan, you're gonna have to forgive them more than once. So you have to understand that you are growing,
Hmm.
and you are like, when you actually get back into your walk, you're gonna do all this maturing, but the people who hurt you aren't. They might, but
I wouldn't bet on it.
I won't bet on it either. Especially if, every time you are talking to them, you're just waiting for them to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was deep. So, like, that's what I mean. It's a constant, like, working battle to try to backfill that hole back in so you can get to the surface. And as you start working on the stuff, start growing, then we need to start backfilling that hole with God.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're just getting rid of all of our trauma, all of our baggage, then we're just looking at a hole, and chances are we're going to fall right back in it at some point.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that we're backfilling it with positive stuff and healthy things.
Yeah. So you don't fall back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's important. So I wanted to real quick touch on something you mentioned, which was like asking God what is next for you. Like setting aside the complaints, setting aside the victim mentality for a minute, and asking the Lord, God, how can I grow? Like what are you trying to tell me in this season? There's a man, his name's Jordan Peterson, and he helped me with this way of thinking about it. You can ask the Lord this. You sit on your bed at night and you say this out loud. And this is interesting, right? This is why he believes in God, actually. It's crazy. You ask yourself this question. You say, what is one remarkably stupid thing that I'm doing wrong, that I know I'm doing wrong, that I would fix and could fix? And you'll get an answer. And it's not going to be one that you like. And you don't want to do it. And it's not fun. And it's not sexy, but it's work. And it's interesting how that works, because God sends you something for you to do. And you know this thing. There's something so many people are avoiding right now that they're trying to just forget. Every day, the shower, get ready for work, go to work, come home, forget. Or they narcotize. They scroll social media for hours and hours and hours and forget. Or they drink and narcotize and forget, and do drugs and forget. Like, and try to ignore that thing that they know they have to do.
Yeah.
The growth for me was doing the thing. It sucked because I had to tell the truth about something that I did wrong. And that hurt. It was like ripping an appendage off of my body. It was so painful and terrifying, because the thing for me was I had to be honest about something that I'd done that, man, I didn't want to, like, I didn't want to admit, not just to the other person, but for myself. I didn't want to admit that thing because I was terrified of the consequence. Here's the thing. When you tell the truth and you do the thing that God is asking you to do, and take care of. You not only are telling yourself, but you're telling God, everything is on the altar. All I want is you. Nothing is too important that you aren't first. When you're able to give up, when you're able to give up the outcome, however so severely, you're telling the Lord, you are the most important thing in my life. And you're also telling yourself, I can do hard things. Which, again, another talk for another day. But doing hard stuff is important for you. It's really, really important that you do hard things. Psychologically, it's a big deal, right? So that's the thing that helped me get out. And as we're thinking about the victim mentality, like, first, acknowledge that you have it. Look at your life. And if you find that every time you're hanging out with your friends, you're the complainer of the group, ask yourself, do you want to be the complainer? What's that doing good for your friends? How is that influencing your children? If they learn it as kids, this is the most important season we could be in. Acknowledge it, and then ask the Lord, how can I dig out of it? Right? And then once you get out, you mentioned something good, which is backfilling it with the Lord's truths. Talk more about that.
Lord's truths are just the Bible that often just collects dust on our nightstands. It's right beside it. We look past it. We look past it every day. We see it every day. But we just say, I don't have the time. But in it, there's a lot of good stuff. And so I'm going to share a few verses. Whoever trusts in his own mind is a fool, but who walks in wisdom will be delivered. That's Proverbs 28:26. Proverbs is just full of wisdom, and Ecclesiastes too. Mm-hmm. Ecclesiastes 2:14. The wise person has his eyes in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. And yet I perceived that the same event happens to all of them. I just keep going on. For such persons do not serve our Lord Christ, but their own appetites. And by smooth talk and flattery, they deceive the hearts of the naive. There's also, man, I'm really bad at quoting the Bible, but through every season, through everything, for I am with you. A lot of verses that you'll find are promises. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember where in Matthew, but something that helped me when I was seeking approval for everything and seeking people's acceptance was, you are my son. Mm-hmm. And I got a lot of baggage with that because I had a father, but he wasn't present. So I didn't feel loved. Mm-hmm. So when I read that verse, you are my son, I realized that I have a father, not a worldly father, a more powerful father that accepts me and loves me. Yeah. You just got to open the Bible.
All right. Hey, this is Ethan. We're just going to take a quick break on this episode right here. This was a long recording, so we're going to split this into 2 episodes here. Be sure to tune in next week to hear the second part of Victim Mentality with Ryan Weber. Thanks for listening.